Welcome to the Redvee TV Show, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2025 season. We'll win week, Kev, and we return with plenty going on at the club, and a real game. Well, is it a real game? We will discuss to look forward to on Saturday. How are you?
Struggling with the sore throat, but let's just crack on.
Well, the issue is, Kev, Saints keep putting news out every day. We asked them to regain the narrative, and the narrative they pretty much have done. Is it fair to say?
I think at the moment they have done absolutely right. New signing pretty much past, including tonight, the past 3 nights. Sorry, a re-signing rather than a new signing, but a new announcement. Past 3 nights, wonderful to see.
Yes.
Absolutely wonderful to see.
Obviously, we've discussed on Monday Vaughan and Sambu moving to Wigan. I'd have, listen if Morgan Knowles is going, just get that news out there as well.
Yeah, yeah, you might as well do.
Because listen, we don't want to end up in a situation. And we said this before, like when Sione was going home and everybody knew, and Dodd was going to Sydney and everybody knew. For me, the statement for Knowles should be along the lines of unbelievable offer. I've won everything there is to win at Saints. Um, it's a chance to go and experience a new lifestyle, test myself against the best in the world. It's going to be my last real opportunity to go and do so, and I wouldn't forgive myself if I didn't go and do it for a couple of years. And I'd love to come back to Saints one day, potentially.
Perfect. Yeah, and why not? And I don't think,
Everybody would go. Yeah, that's fair enough. No
yeah,
one would give him any stick because they think, do you know what? He loves the club. He wants to come back one day. And it's only if he signs with Wigan in 3 years' time that he will get booed.
absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah, it's
It's a simple
excuse me.
statement, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a
Doesn't even
simple
have to be
statement.
true. Just say it.
Simple, effective. I don't think anyone would begrudge him having a crack at the NRL. I think his game's pretty much suited to it from what the little I see of the NRL. I think he'd go really well down there, and I don't think people, especially with the money on offer, I don't think people would begrudge it at all.
If I was hedging my bets, I would say we're not going to hear before the Salford game because the fear will be it'll put a negative downer ahead of the first home game. If we had to beat Salford in round one, the news gets released on the Sunday morning.
Yes, yeah.
When
I
you're
think
away the week after and you've got a couple of weeks.
I think the quicker you can get it done, it's almost like ripping a plaster off, isn't it? Quicker you can get it done and over with, rather than prolonging the agony. Yeah, just get it sorted.
But we've got the negative out the way. See, that's how easy it was. We've
Yep.
lost two kids to Wigan, but we spoke on what day are we on? Thursday. We spoke on Tuesday
Yeah.
about Noah Stevens being the first domino to fall, and two more have fell in the meantime. It's the winger we've banged on about for an awful long time. Owen Dagnall, the future of the club, has signed a deal 4 years, keeping him here until at least the end of 2028, the same as Noah.
Yeah. Winger or centre. Remains to be seen where his best position will be for the club. I could see him almost being out on the wing, definitely to start his career, make life easier for him. Um, but yeah, it was just another bit of good news just to build it up. And listen, I did still see some negative comments, not about Owen, but about the fact that we're losing two, so we've announced two. And then what happened, Dave?
Well, announce another one.
We announced another.
But it's almost like people seem to think that these like videos and the media and everything takes place in like half an hour.
Yeah, yeah,
Things take time. Um, Hopefully this isn't the last of the announcements and we've got more to come. Um, but really good to get this one over the line. And it shows we're now there is plans. There is we spoke about we wanted to see what the narrative was. Saints gain control of it, and we can see now we've had three youngsters sign on until the end of 2028. So you've got the nucleus of your squad alongside the likes of your Jack Wellesby's, your Lewis Murphys, your Kyle Felts, your Tristan Sailors.
Yeah.
You've got you're getting the basis again of a squad rebuild, aren't you?
Yeah, and as we always say about the youngsters, when you bring a load through all at once, they're not all going to stick. It's not going to work for every single one of them. But you hope that the ones that you're tying down, the ones that are receptive to these offers, are the right ones for the club, have got the right buy-in for the club, um, and want to do well for the club. Um, I mean, you see, they're always saying we've shown commitment to the club, and hopefully you can keep giving us the great support that you bring. All good words. The young lads are speaking really well as well, um, and it's great to see that Saints have actually got hold of the narrative, and are being positive as well, not allowing it to kind of just wallow and just us all be have a bit of self pity on it. We're going out there and being proactive.
The interesting thing is you've seen people on the forums saying, "Oh, players are leaving because they don't want to play for Wello, and it's Wello's fault, etc., etc." But
I
then,
haven't on the forums.
well, I,
You
I
might have.
I made the mistake of reading them. Um, but then Owen Dagnall's comments in his interview, Wello's shown a lot of faith in me from an early age and brought me into training earlier from the academy into the first team system. As soon as I finished my A-level studies, that was a big factor in signing on because I know Wello, Breezy, and Eamon have faith in me. I'm just looking to repay that faith for the season. So there's actual players coming out with comment stating, "Oh, the coach staff." And listen, yeah, you could argue, is it club spin? But the players are saying those words. You can't put words in their mouth when they're being recorded. Um,
Yeah,
and I think people need to lay off the coaching team and see what happens on the field. Um, and you know what? The proof will be in the pudding, won't it?
yeah. I think that's one thing. It's very easy to be knee jerk, isn't it? It's very easy to just kind of throw something out there, and put the first thing that you think out on social media. But you're right. Going back to the first bit of the point you made, these negotiations don't take half an hour. They might take a month. They might take longer for it to be done. I would guess that Owen's contract was signed a couple of weeks ago. I'd guess that Noah's was signed a couple of weeks ago. Guess that George Whitby's was signed a couple of weeks ago. Just how it works. It's not that they sign him and before the ink's dry, the media team have dragged him in front of a camera and started doing moody shots of him looking out over Saints. Yeah, they probably do them all in the same day because they've got all the setup ready. But these things take time to do. It's not, and people going out going, it's only because we've lost players that we're announcing these now. Maybe we wouldn't have announced them quite as we are doing. Maybe we'd have taken our time and drip fed them out throughout the season. But I kind of like the block of them because now these lads don't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry when it's coming out. It's done. Forget about it now. You've got a contract for 4 years. Concentrate on your rugby.
I think the other thing as well is the players essentially are all in competition with each other for deals and to maximise their own income. Although they come together as a team, so player X might sign a deal, but does it weaken the club's hand negotiating with other players if they've suddenly announced that, well, player X has signed for 4 years, so then when they're trying to negotiate a deal with player Y, he goes, well, if he's signed for 4 years, am I going to get the game time? Or he's on so much, I want so much more. You keep your hands close to your chest potentially until you've got the majority of what you want to do done and dusted.
Yeah, yeah, I think you do. And players will always have this opinion that they're probably worth a little bit more, or maybe even a little bit higher up the pecking order than they are. But for the majority of these lads, this is the second year. Yeah, they might have had a squad number last year, but this is their second year in as professionals. First full year for Owen, second full year for Noah. Is it first full year for George as well? And they know where they stand in the club. They're not getting ahead of themselves. They're signing what will be a good deal for them at this age and where they currently stand in the pecking order at the club. They're not getting ahead of themselves. They're being nice and level headed and getting let the rugby do all the talking, because I absolutely guarantee if Owen Dagnall needs to come into the first team this year and somehow ends up with 20 tries, this contract that he's signed now will soon be bumped up.
And we'll soon, well, we'll know 5 years down the line, did we keep the right back?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, and I think that's the thing. Do you know what? And I think that's the thing with contracts, isn't it? If player X decides that what they've been offered isn't where they see themselves, and somebody offers more, fair play. It's a short career. It's a business.
yeah,
It, but obviously we talk as fans, and despite we do know it's a business and it's a short career, it just leaves a sour taste when it's to your arch rivals. That's
yeah. And
Yeah,
listen,
and it's disappointment as a fan, even though if we looked at it with a business head on, you can see why players do what they do.
yeah, correct, because it's a short career. You don't know when it could be over. So, but you've probably got clubs who have got X amount in the pot, and the player wants X plus 15 grand. And Saints probably look at something like that and go, "We don't think you're worth that. This is the offer we're willing to start negotiating on, but we're never going to come up to that. Somebody else can offer you that. Fair enough, go get it.
You
Absolutely,
know,
go get it."
one point I do want to make. I've seen people saying, well, why have we offered Ben Davis deals and Conrad Harrell deals and we're losing these young lads? These deals are for 2026 onwards. There's a good chance Conrad Harrell might not be,
Yeah,
well, won't be here in 2026 anyway. The lads are all under contract for 2025. Unfortunately, it's this silly system where you've got to give deals out really early on. But we've given another one out, and it's the man who potentially could be the future in the Saints halves. George Whitby has signed a 4-year contract extension.
yes. Great, great work from the former Burnley Football Club player George Whitby. I think it's going to be as synonymous as me saying it as us saying Redvee's Noah Stevens.
He's an awful
This
lot
one's
taller, Kev, than a 40p as well.
yes,
He actually walked past me the other day, and he's a tall lad.
yeah, yeah, and I think I was obviously we've seen little bits of him. I was impressed in the friendly game against Salford, where he was actually asking for the ball, organising things, but also making things happen, not just sitting back and being a shovel for the ball. He was actually putting kicks in. He was being busy. He was making sure that plays were where he wanted them to be. For a young lad to do that, and I'd imagine he'll do it to whether it be Alex Walmsley stood next to him or Matty Leeds or Curtis Simmons or whoever. I'd imagine he will do that because you almost can't just you can't learn that. You've got to be that type of player. That's what makes you a seven. The fact that you can organise, you can talk, and you're telling people where you want them, because it's like a quarterback in American football. They're the ones who are making things happen, making things tick. That's what you're looking for from your seven. Well, your six and seven, but your seven especially. You think of like famous players who've worn the seven: Sean Long, Alex Murphy for the older generation. These people all made something happen. That's what you look for in a lad like this, and looks like he's got the confidence and the ability and the promise that's made us give him a 4 year extension here.
You see, Johnny Lomax is contracted until the end of 2026. He's got 2 years left
Yeah,
to run on his deal. It does remain to be seen whether Johnny does see out them 2 years or whether this is his final year and he decides to maybe move into some sort of coaching role. But I've seen people saying, "Oh, well, Johnny should play the year and hand it over to George." That's Johnny's not going to do that. Johnny's will see himself as more than good enough to keep playing and be competing against George. If George is to get the jersey, George needs to beat Johnny out.
Yeah, yeah. It's like somebody coming into your works and saying, right, you're a bit old for this role now, so we want you to go and hand over to this new person here, this younger.
And rip up your contract.
Yeah,
The only way Johnny
I
goes
mean,
at the end of 2025 is if it's best for Johnny because he's got a deal.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't work like that. Again, take sport out of it, but put the business head on. It doesn't work like that.
The only issue is you've and we found this with the squad over the last couple of years, which is all aged together and basically came to the end of the line. We gave everybody new deals when we were winning things, and we've ended up in a situation where you've got to go with what you've got. The only concern or worry is if you give all these players 4 years and they don't work out, they are on your salary cap for 4 years. It's a gamble. It is a gamble.
Of course it is. Of
Hopefully,
course it is.
hopefully it's an informed gamble and everything works out. But you do have to prepare yourself that any one of these signings potentially might not turn into the player you think they do, as much as we hope that they do.
Yeah, it's all positive, but you've had to bring a downer back on it. No, it's realism.
But
It's realism.
is
It's
that the
realism.
same with say you've bought Tristan Saylor? How long's Tristan signed for? Is it 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
Tell me, Kev, with the expert. But
We've not done his play preview yet, so
but
I've
this
not.
is this is how rugby league differs from football, and I'm not entirely sure fans get it at times, occasionally, where you can't just say player X hasn't worked out, so let's move them on and replace them and sign someone else. You basically you commit to your squad, and that's what you have to run with for
Mm.
the year. It's very hard to change what you've got once you've got it.
But I almost think as well with if you do commit to these and they're not quite working out, but they're good enough to fill in, they will do,
2 years, Tristan.
and they will just fill in. I'll put my phone down from googling that. They can be squad players, and again, I think the one thing they'll say is the reminder that Noah's a second year professional. George is what, 1.5 in. Owen's 1.5 in. There's only George Delaney so far of the ones that have been like announced in the past couple of weeks who's done longer. So yeah, there's a risk. Absolutely, there's a risk. But they're right at the start of the career, and you've got to tie these players down. As I said before, if all these players work and you start getting towards 4 years, I guarantee they've all signed a new deal before that 4 years like comes out.
Yeah,
Because you'll have the other lads who are coming through the system and pushing them. They push themselves up, and they're going to be pushing to be another halfback, another winger, another centre, another prop.
yeah, 100%. Right. Contracts done and dusted. I wish Saints had stopped rolling out contracts. Well, I'd say I don't wish they'd stop rolling out contracts for people, but yeah. Right, Kev, we are going on to a game.
Yes, a Challenge Cup game as well.
No one will notice. I have to come off the screen a minute because I needed a minute. I'm going the wrong way, but there's a squad.
Yes. How many in? How many out? Well, we've dropped everyone who was in the. We've dropped the other 14 out of the Morgan Knowles testimonial, and named a 21 instead of a 35-man squad.
Squad news sponsored by St. Helens Flooring.
Excellent, good. Another good local company getting involved.
Didn't they do Matty Lee's floor the other week?
I think they did. I think they did. We're now searching for that to see if they did Massili's flooring.
I'm sure I spotted that on Instagram.
Massili's one of the players who isn't in that squad, as it looks like we're still resting a lot of the international players.
Still buffing his laminates. Right. Um, we asked, well, actually, we didn't ask. I put a tweet out a few weeks ago saying this is an absolute pointless game that doesn't benefit anybody. You didn't agree with me, and I will revise that. This game is a pointless game for everybody involved, except the players of West Hull who get to play a professional team.
Yeah, I when we've spoken about this in the meantime, there's a lot of things I agree with you on. Like, I'm not sure about the us playing the level that we are, that if, whether it's safe or not. And a lot of this will be seen, excuse me, on Saturday. Um, but yeah, the line that I disagreed with you on was the pointless for everyone involved. Because if West Hull do this right and they've got a game against St. Helens. I'm not on about them making loads of money this weekend, but if kids of Hull see that and want to go down to West Hull's club and join, or want to go down and watch with the mates, want to go down with the dad, the boost, I don't think, I'm not going to say it's going to be massive, but it will just be big enough. Keep West Hull motoring along for a while. It might bring kids through the youth team. If they go down there, it might put money in the coffers, just put more eyes on their team if the likes of Hull FC or Hull KR aren't at home. It gives people something to do that's relatively cheap on a Saturday afternoon.
Well, they're still the best team in West Hull. Um,
Yeah,
I just don't think they'll make any money. People seem to be like of the opinion, well, the money raised from these games will keep a community club going for many years. By the time they've factored in the costs, maybe not, potentially not West Hull, but they might go to Neil Hudgell and Hull KR, who have probably been a great help. But a lot of clubs will have to rent stadiums, and a lot of their money will be tied up in that. I don't see it as a financial incentive. I don't think there's any glory in the Challenge Cup, and it's not good for the game when you're going to see a lot of three-figure scorelines potentially. Is it safe? Well, the fact that it's now being played on a professional playing surface, yes, it's not. It's on not on the school field. I'm being tongue in cheek a little there, but you get what I'm saying. But what's these lads' tackling techniques like? Are they going to, especially once they start getting tired in games, is there going to be swinging arms? Do players go and try and make a name for themselves? They're not professionals. I don't think this format will last after this year. I think this will be a one-time only thing, and it'll be like everything else in rugby league. They'll go back to the drawing board.
well, they already have announced it today that they're going back to the drawing board by having the game, excuse me, after the start of the Super League season. I don't know if it's Adam Bauer who put that out.
which
Um,
which could mean even bigger score lines because Super League clubs will have had a tune-up.
yeah, and I think when we had all these games that like round one, round two, who was it who pulled out? I can't remember the team who pulled out the amateur team because they've been told they couldn't have full contact training for player welfare. His player by doing that, it's a mixed message from the RFL. You can't have full contact, but we want you to go and play in a Challenge Cup game. There's got to be some joined up thinking about it. Um, as I say, I get a lot of your points. I get a lot of your reasoning behind it. Um, I don't think it's quite the FA Cup where you think, well, like you look at Tamworth taking Tottenham to extra time, which should have been a replay. It's not going to happen, is it? It's
Yeah,
just not going to
I
happen.
think football's a completely different game where you can keep games tighter for longer just for the, nature of the nature of the game. If the, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I get we made this chance with third round and saying the Super League clubs will be drawn away to these teams, and so it's a chance for Super League clubs to visit somewhere that they don't normally go, which is all well and good if the games aren't then getting moved anyway, because the facilities at these clubs aren't good enough to host a Super League team. So you wonder, would you be better guaranteeing these amateur teams a glamour tie at a Super League stadium? Would West Hull rather have played Saints at Saints in front of 3,500, 4,000 people?
Well, it depends how many they're going to get at Hull KR, doesn't it? Because they're playing at the Super League Stadium.
Are Hull KR fans going to turn out to watch West Hull? They might get a couple of hundred locals.
Yeah,
I reckon there'll
we've
probably
we've
be more Saints fans potentially in the stadium.
we've had a Dawn Kirby, who's a Hull KR fan who follows us, say that she's going to go down there, which is a good start. I was just actually reading the Aaron Bowell piece that went out today on Love Rugby League, and they're saying the likes of Gould have switched their tie with Wakefield. The Leeds game's been switched, hasn't it? And Rodri Jones, commercial boss, RL commercial boss, while he believes the draw's thrown up some successes, York will play in front of a huge crowd at home to Hull KR, and Bradford's tie with Castleford is one of the most intriguing, for example. There are lessons to be learned. And it's like, again, did he not think of this beforehand? Is it just, we'll just go with it? Not let's have a look at all the permutations of what could happen.
Okay, right. So we are playing anyway, Kev.
Yeah.
Um, who misses out? Anyone?
Pass.
Does it matter?
Pass.
Any
I think
combination of that 17 will win comfortably.
I I've quickly done a team because I actually thought just before we started I better think of one. I think only one of Jack Wellsby and Tristan Saylor will play. Don't think there's any point in playing them both. Uh, um, if with the props we've named, excuse me, if you're going to play Alex Walmsley, he's going to come off the bench. Not going to do massive minutes, but he'll come off the bench. Can see John Bennison playing fullback, Harry Robertson in the centres because it seems like well, it's how we start against Salford, so I can see that happening. Possibly either Wellsby or Sailor to miss out alongside one of the hookers, so Nolan or Marsh. Maybe Marsh gets a nod because he played 13 as well. Alfie Sinclair and Jake Davis,
No,
possibly.
you play Jake
Those.
Davis because you're playing with Ben.
Do you
Yeah,
get the story?
yeah. Get the story. Um, and I also think you play Conrad in the centres as well because he needs the
Yeah,
marks.
yeah. I think so. I think you like you did against Swinton last year, where he played a bit of that. He needs to be in. If he wants any chance of playing against Salford, he needs to be in this week.
Yeah. Predictions, Kev?
Um, West Hull to throw the kitchen sink at it for the first 15, 20 minutes and just to go through
I
in
want
the
West
second
Hull
game.
to get a penalty in the first couple of minutes and to kick a goal.
Yeah,
Like the 100
yeah,
meter sprinter who runs for St. Helens Striders or whoever, who sprints like hell at the start of the London Marathon to say that they've led it.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I am absolutely delighted that there is a massive cup tie this weekend. I am really looking forward to seeing a belting tie with the game in the balance and not knowing the outcome. And I cannot wait to be at Everton on Saturday afternoon while you trundle up to Hull to watch what will hopefully be a record-breaking score for you.
yeah. One of us will be there anyway.
Not a true fan, Kev.
I just listen. I had the option of leaving it, um,
I give
but
you that option, didn't I? I said, "Do you know what, Kev? I am not going to hold it against you if Redvee TV takes place online. But do you know what? Ever the professional, you will be there, microphone in hand, alongside Redvee favourite, effing Smudger.
don't. The
Mr.
old,
Yellow Card himself.
he's
In,
already, he's all,
I think it's in the hull that he always gets his yellow cards as well.
he's already told me that he's thinking of who he can wind up.
But you will be there with the Redvee instant reaction on Saturday. I will be watching in the car on the way home from football. And to be fair, I already had the tickets for the football beforehand.
Yeah, yeah, you did. Yeah,
That came first. And even if I hadn't, I'd have still been going there anyway. Nothing like a bit of honesty.
true.
And that is that. Right. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will catch you very soon for the next. Oh, no, we'll catch you on Saturday for the instant reaction. But we'll be back tomorrow as well. I will be back on tomorrow, whatever day you're watching this. We have another player preview.
We'll be back.
Can't get rid of us.